Hey guys, it's Matt with Surf City TCG here with a new deck guide on Satya Aetherflux Genius. This is the Jeskai Energy Commander from Modern Horizons 3. Satya is a 3/5 legendary human artificer that has menace and haste, so very aggressive stats right off the bat for 4 mana, and says whenever Satya attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of up to one other, so he can't copy himself, target non-token creature you control. He also cannot copy tokens, notably. You get 2 energy. You do get the energy no matter what. This is a question I had actually when I read this because it's not ultra clear. Like it kind of sounds like that part, like making a copy of something is required to get the 2 energy, but it is not. I have confirmed. So, anytime he attacks, you get 2 energy. You also get to create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of another non-token creature you control. And then at the end of your turn, you're going to sacrifice that token unless you pay energy equal to its mana value. So if you had no energy to start and you copied a 2 mana creature, then you'd get a copy of that. You could pay the 2 energy you got just from attacking with Satya to keep that 2 mana creature. But if you copied a 3 or more mana creature, then you wouldn't be able to keep it unless you had some other way to generate energy on your turn. And we do have quite a lot of other ways to generate energy, but it's nice that Satya gives you the 2 automatically every time he attacks. And it's pretty easy to get through with him. Most I mean, I've played this deck several times now, and there's always someone you can get through to. Almost always with a 3/5 with Menace. It's pretty hard to block until like really much later in the game. So I find that just keeping him alive is not necessarily easy because people start to want to kill it. But it's not the most threatening commander, though it is very aggressive. So I put together this little bit of a deck template. So I'm going to go through the numbers by category and then just talk about what this deck's trying to do, how to pilot it, and then we'll do a little bit of mulligan practice. Before I get into all that, I just want to thank everyone who has already subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm just getting going with this, so all the support and encouragement I've received thus far has been wonderful. But if you haven't yet subscribed, or if this is your first time watching, please consider it. I mostly post EDH gameplay videos that are played on Spell Table, but every once in a while, or I try to do them more often, is create these deck guides and talk through my thoughts on deck building and just commander stuff in general. So let me know. I also have a Discord that is getting more and more active. We have a lot of great conversation and discussions. And if you've never used Discord before, I hadn't, like, honestly, until maybe a year ago. And it's just a wonderful resource. Like, it's, basically just a big chat room where you can talk to people who have similar interests. So we post a lot of like deck discussion and like card, some finance speculation stuff, and it's just a fun place to hang out with like-minded people. So I will put the link in my description below. Feel free to check that out, and I'm also going to put the deck list for this deck in the description below. So thanks for that. Let's get into the deck. So what I guess before I get into all these specifics, like in general, this is an aggressive deck. Like the commander triggers on attacking, it has haste, it has menace. I mean, what additional clues do you need to say like, hey, you should be attacking with this deck, right? That being said, I know a lot of players struggle with like attacking people early. They don't want to like rattle any cages, step on any toes, whatever. If you are one of those players, this is a good deck to help you like break out of that mold. Like I've found myself in that spot. I don't normally play aggressive decks. I don't normally play decks that just turn creatures sideways and attack because I like to play a slower political game. I feel like that is more often than not the way to win a commander game is kind of just like lay low as long as possible. Don't be the first one to become a threat. And that often is the trouble with aggressive decks, right? Because like you have to be swinging to get value out of your commander. You sometimes can be perceived as the first one that's, doing something dangerous. On the other hand, like any reasonable players will understand that like, okay, that's what your commander does. You're just doing it because you have to. You're not picking someone to you're not choosing a player to pick on, so to speak. You're just trying to trigger your commander, and like you were the one that was open, and you can like be political or creative about how you decide who you're going to attack. What I would recommend is to be very thoughtful before the game starts about like, okay, which is the deck that's going to be the most powerful in the late game, or is going to like provide the most difficult wall to get through for you, and start attacking them while you still have the chance. Because later on, when you need to be attacking with Satya, but you know someone's got an army of tokens and then one big creature, all of a sudden like menace is not quite the evasion that you need in that situation. So always be thinking about that. Don't always just attack the player with the most life total, although sometimes that's a good excuse. I wouldn't use that as your reasoning, if that makes sense. Try to be thoughtful about who you're going to have a hard time getting through to later. And, like, by all means, just tell them that if you have to, if they're getting pissed that you're attacking them. Just say, yeah, I just don't expect to be able to attack you that much later based on what I see your commander does. And a lot of times that's all they need to hear. They just don't want to think that you're picking on them for some other reason. You do need to be attacking though. So like don't ever just not attack. Even if you don't have anything to copy, you want that 2 energy, right? You're gonna use that later. Think ahead. Try to get in those points of damage everywhere you can. Even like 1 point of damage can matter, right? I've won tons of games at 1. And there, the times where you're like, I don't want to, rustle any feathers, getting in that 1 damage attack with my Esper Sentinel, what's the point? Just think about all those games where someone wins with 1 life, and you could have prevented that. So just always be attacking. So let's get into the stats of this deck, and I guess talk about in general what the overall game plan is. This, like I said, it's an aggressive deck, and he can attack right away. Satya can, and he's 4 mana, right? So what we really want is to have something that we can copy in play already when it's time to play him. Because if you play him on 4 into an empty board, that's not really helpful. What this means also is that playing, the normal way I would suggest and think about building a 4 mana commander is let's run every 2 mana rock that we can, because that allows us to play our commander on turn 3. But if we apply that same heuristic to this deck, we'd realize like, well, that sort of the way that plays out doesn't really benefit us with this deck, right? Landing a 2 mana rock on turn 2, yes, it allows us to play Satya on turn 3, but then all we get to do is make 2 energy on attack and kind of piss someone off pretty early by attacking them for 3 commander. So in that scenario, if I did have a 2 mana rock and no other play on 2 mana, I might actually just play, I almost certainly would play a different 4-drop instead of Satya first. So I'd say, as a general rule, of course there's going to be exceptions, but as a general rule, look to play at least 1 creature before you play your commander, even if it means playing Satya off curve. So that's not something I would normally recommend, but in this deck, we just need to think about how it's going to play out and make sure that we've got something to copy, because we want the value. The stuff we're copying typically is going to have some sort of benefit to us, whether it's just entering the battlefield, making energy, or doing something more powerful like, let's just look through our creatures before we do these types and tags, and you'll see that like what I'm running is all stuff that benefits from having it on the board. Esper Sentinel, that benefits from creatures entering. There's a lot of creatures that make energy when they come in. Having 2 Archivist of Ogmas, never a bad thing. Again, makes energy when it comes in. Multiple draw effects. Polywog Prodigy, new card from Bloomburrow, phenomenal in the stack. Having 2 of these and being able to evolve them every time you make a copy of something is very, very powerful. So yeah, like we've got lots, like everything here and above, which is like, I'm not going to count, but it's like 25 creatures that are less than 4 mana for this very reason. But even if I had none of those, like I had to mulligan to 5, had a really bad hand, even dropping something like Solemn Simulacrum on turn 4 and then playing Satya the following turn means that we're going to get an extra basic land when we copy this the following turn, and we're going to get a death trigger, right? These creatures get sacrificed at the end of the turn. They don't exile. It's not like Myriad. So we get death triggers too. So that is something to think about when you build this. In fact, cards like AO the Dawn Sky, which I'm not running, is something I did consider, even though it's not in my considering. I should add it. I thought I had. But these sort of like Cycle of Kamigawa dragons that exile, or sorry, that when they die, something you get something. Like for example, AO will put a bunch of counters on your creatures or let you look at the top 7. These are very powerful too. And having them on 5 mana is not bad either, because we could play them the turn after Satya and still get an effect from them right away. So this is a card I would consider for the deck. I might even add it in the future. It's just I'm going with this particular version right now. So we do, all that's to say that like I'm running 10 pieces of mana and ramp in this deck, which is lower than I would normally recommend. I'd say for an average deck, if I didn't know what the deck was doing, just in a vacuum, I would say run 15 pieces of mana and ramp and you're going to be happy, even up to 20 in some decks. But in this deck, we're running less because it's a hype. First of all, we don't have any mana dorks. We're in Jeskai. There just aren't that many good creatures that make mana. There are some, and we are playing them, like Loyal Warhound is one, and Knight of the White Orchid. Actually, guess I'm not running any of them, but running one of those is not bad. It's just not guaranteed that it's going to make mana, so I chose to just go with a pretty traditional set of mana rocks, like the talismans, but not the signets. The signets are fine. They're just, sometimes they will, and the way they work is just frustrating because, you if you've, okay, I can't think of how, the situation off the top of my head, but there's times where, like, for example, if you play it on turn 2 and you have a 1-drop, right? Um, with a talisman, you play a talisman on turn 2, it lets you play a 1-drop right away, right? Because you can make that mana. So if I have an Esper Sentinel and a talisman in my hand, I can play Talisman of Conviction on turn 2, tap it, take a damage, play Esper Sentinel, right? But if I have any of the signets, they are 1 tap, make 2 mana. You can't do that, right? They net you 1 mana, but you can't tap it if you only have 1 mana available. So that's the reason I prefer the talismans over the signets, even though they deal damage to you. I don't like to be stuck in situations where I can't use my mana rocks. It's akin to playing lands that come into play tapped, and regular viewers of this channel know how I feel about those lands. So yeah, so we're not running as many pieces of ramp as normal, but I hope you understand the reasoning. It's because we really want to get creatures in play so that when we play Satya, and not only is this an aggressive deck, like we win by attacking, so we just want to be playing creatures. This is a tempo deck, like we want to be playing on curve and we want to be attacking. So ramping is not what this deck is trying to do, because that is counter to being aggressive, right? Because that's what a lot of decks are doing, right? And you want to make sure you're targeting those decks because they will beat you in the long run, right? If a deck is playing Sky Shroud Claim into Open the Way, or Nature's Lore, 3 Visits, we need a Shrubbery, etc. They're going the deck that spends the most mana over the course of the game is the deck that wins, I'd say 90% of the time. If you average out all of the millions of games of Commander that are played, that is a like general rule that I can pretty much guarantee you will be true more often than not. What that means is those decks that are spending time ramping early are going to end up beating you more often than not, because they're just going to have access to more mana every turn. Think about like those games where a player gets a turn 1 Soul Ring and no one else does. Okay, like on turn 2 they can play 4-drop, on turn 3 they could play a 5-drop, on turn 4 they could play a 6-drop. Already that's 15 mana spent over those 3 turns. Compare that to the other 3 players who are playing a 2-drop, 3-drop, and 4-drop on those turns. 15 mana spent versus 9 mana spent. They spent 6 more mana than you just in 3 turns. And it's just 2 a turn every single turn. That's hard to come back from. And that's why turn 1 Soul Ring is so frustrating to come up against, because it's like, all right, you've got 2 extra mana every single turn, and yeah, it's only 2 mana. And like the thing that pisses me off most is these players who are like, oh, like whatever, all I'm doing is playing a Sky Shroud Claim on turn 2. Like, what do you mean that's all you're doing? That is like the most devastating thing you could do with a Soul Ring is like ramp it into another +2 mana. Now you're putting the game even further out of range for us because you're +4 mana on us every single turn. And anyone who doesn't realize how powerful that is needs to reevaluate what's going on in the game and how they're winning or losing a game. So anyway, not to get off on a tangent too much, but like this deck is not running that much ramp, so we want to be aggressive and target those players who are ramping. Card advantage, 20 pieces. So I'm counting all of the things I have categorized as draw engine, draw. So the difference here being like in an engine is something that can be used multiple times to draw you cards over some like length of time. And then these are like single burst card draw spells that you typically cannot reuse. Now, of course, we could make copies of Solemn Simulacrum and draw multiple cards off it, but I'd rather just like treat it as one, like pretend we're going to get the worst case scenario. And if we don't, great. And then I also added in one for this Aetherworks marble because this is technically card advantage too. So 20 pieces of card advantage is a good number. It's where I like to see my decks at. Like, you know, sometimes a little bit less is fine, especially if your commander has draw itself. Then a lot of times you don't need this sort of stuff as much. Like, but Satya doesn't do that. I mean, he creates card advantage in a way, but it's not like actual drawing of cards. So I still want to run a like pretty significant number of draw stuff. But what I really want is for a lot of it to be creatures. And if we look, we can see like all of these are, except for is it Generatorium. So I may end up tweaking these numbers a little bit, but like this is a nice solid number to have in your decks. You're never going to be unhappy to get some card draw. It does lose you some tempo if you're not playing creatures. Like if you spend the turn casting a Harmonize, for example, fine, you're drawing 3 for 1, but that costs you your whole turn 4. And with commander games going faster and faster, you just got to be careful making plays like that. Removal. So we've got 13 pieces of removal. When I say removal, I'm talking typically single target removal. I have a separate categorization for board wipes. 13 is a like modest number. It's pretty good. I'd say anywhere from 10 to 20, depending on what your deck is doing, is good. Again, if your commander has removal on itself and it's in the command zone, you can like be sure you're going to draw it every game and it's powerful removal, then you could go with a lesser number, but I'd say this is a pretty like normal amount. I'm always hovering around 10 to 15 in most of my decks. And then 3 board wipes. This is again pretty normal number. Anywhere from 1 to 5 can work. I know some people are like kind of anti-board wipe, but the way the game is going now with all the token generators and just like a lot of focus on combat and creatures, you have to be running a board wipe or two. Otherwise, like there's a player who can get out of control really fast, and if no one's running board wipes, you're just going to lose that game like in the first 4 turns. It can happen. So don't ignore the board wipes. It's the way you can catch up from those early Soul Ring plays when people are like all of a sudden playing their 4-drop commander on turn 2, and then a 5-drop creature on turn 3, and a 6-drop on turn 4. Let's say it's a Consecrated Sphinx. You're like going to be very happy when you have a board wipe in those situations. You don't always have to use it, you know? Like you can draw a board wipe and it can be good for you, but you can hold it back because like sometimes you just don't want the game to go that way. And, you know, I play with my hand revealed on my videos. You guys can see. Sometimes you might notice that I do stuff like that. Like I have a card that is obviously the best card to play, but like I don't always want a game to go in such an obvious way, if that makes sense. I'm not pulling punches, so to speak. I'm just trying. I have different goals for my games. It's not always about winning. And that's a tough thing for me to say because I am a player who tries really hard to win, but I also like to have some constrictions and restraints on myself. And yeah, I might make a video sometime talking a little bit more about this and about deck power levels, because I think that's a topic that really could use some more light shined upon it. So if that's something that you're interested in, please let me know in the comments, and the more support and encouragement I get for a topic like that, the more likely I am to do it sooner rather than later. All right, let's talk about protection. So this is a deck that wants protection. So whenever I build a commander deck, I ask myself, like, first of all, the first thing you're going to want to think about is what's the mana value of this commander. So mana value 4, pretty medium. I'd say it's like very average, like not super fast, not super expensive. But does this commander have any inherent protection? Does it have ward? Does it have hexproof? Does it have anything that discourages players from targeting it? And then also to think about, once you've asked yourself those questions, is how dangerous is this commander? Like, how much are people going to want to remove it? How annoying is it? How like powerful does the ability seem? And I'd say Satya doesn't seem that powerful when you read it. In fact, I think a lot of players will ignore it for the first couple minutes, and then once they see you start like copying powerful creatures and you're not losing those copies, then it will click for them and they'll start to want to remove it. So I think you'll get a turn or two of leeway while there are other more dangerous threats on the board, but then all of a sudden people are going to start tuning into you, so to speak. So you are going to want some protection. Now, we are blue deck, so protection could mean counter spells. In fact, I probably should have lumped those in. I am running 5 counters. So let's add this here, actually. So we really have 7 sources of protection, 5 of which are counter spells, and 7 of which are actual ways. And actually, I have deflecting SWAT in both sections, so I'm going to remove this from protection. So it's not double counted. So we actually have 6 and 5. So, and some of these aren't like directly going to protect Satya from like players trying to remove him. For example, Reconnaissance. This is an old card that's very interesting, very unique. It's not ultra clear on what it does from reading this old text, so I'm actually going to open the Oracle text by just opening it in a new tab, and Moxfield by default will pull the Oracle text, and what they added was this clarification. So what this means is any creature that you like, let's say you send in a bunch of 3/3s, like 4 3/3s, and an opponent who has 4 2/2s, but then opponent plays a spell that says, I'm going to give all my creatures +2/+2 in response. So now all of a sudden you thought you were sending 4 3/3s at a bunch of 2/2s, but now they have a bunch of 4/4s. So all of a sudden your blocks are not so favorable, right? And you don't have any tricks, but you do have a reconnaissance on board. What this means is you can say, all right, assuming they're blocking 1 on each, you say, I don't think so. I'm just going to pull all those out of combat. Nothing's going to deal or receive combat damage. So it's almost like Maze of Ithing all of your own creatures, right? So that's one way that this can be used. But the more common way we're going to use this card is by dealing combat damage to people. Like, let's say we attack someone with Satya. It's a 3/5 with menace. They can't block it, so they take 3. Well, what Reconnaissance allows you to do is say, all right, after you take your damage, technically that creature is still considered attacking for a minute. We have the end of combat phase, and that's why this says if you activate it during the end of combat, the creature can untap after it deals combat damage. So what does this mean? It means all of our creatures have vigilance, number 1. Pseudo-vigilance, meaning they get to untap after combat, even if they've already dealt damage. But it also means we can attack very freely into anyone, right? Even someone with a bunch of death touch creatures. We can attack however we want, and then we can remove at will any number of creatures that we want from combat. So anywhere where the blocks didn't work out the way we wanted, we pull those creatures out, they survive, and any that got through, we don't have to pull out. So very, very powerful card. Really good in this deck too, because we want to be attacking with a lot of creatures, turning everything sideways. But we don't always want those creatures to end up tapped after combat. So this is a really powerful effect. And then aside from that, we've got some like Ways to give additional evasion and ward 4. I like this card, and this is a really good home for it, I find. Sword of Feast and Famine, I don't need to sell you on the power of this card, but it is really good in this deck because it protects from the colors that we are not, which can matter a lot of times with Satya, because we want to be able to target our creatures, even ones wearing a sword. And if we use any sword other than this one, it will have one of the colors of our commander, right? This is the only sword that gives protection from the 2 colors that we are not, which is lucky for us because this is the best sword in the cycle, bar none. The only one that's even close to this powerful is Sword of Fire and Ice, and this one is much better in most situations. But it's also great for that reason I stated. We can put this on a creature that we want to protect, example, Polywog Prodigy, Esper Sentinel, right? And we could still copy that creature with Satya because Satya's ability targets, and if our creature has protection from any of Satya's colors, red, white, or blue, we could not target that creature because protection prevents 4 things. It's the acronym DEBT, D-E-B-T. It prevents damage, enchanting and equipping, blocking, and targeting. So that T is what gets us, right? Satya's ability targets our creatures to make a copy, right? Whenever he attacks, create a tap and attack token that's a copy of up to 1 other target creature we control. So protection from red, white, or blue stops opponents from targeting them with those spells, but it also stops us. It's kind of like Shroud in that way. So just be careful before you run something like a Sword of Fire and Ice in this deck, because you'll find that a lot of times it can mess you up a little bit. All right, and then the last category is like land specific. It's energy generators or stuff to do with energy. We have a lot of them, 29. This might be too many. I may end up shaving some of these out of here, but for now, I like to play this as an energy deck. I find it to be really fun. It's just a blast. Like, you're getting to attack every single turn. You're getting to make copies of creatures. You get a lot of tricksy stuff going on. It's a really, really fun deck to play. So highly recommend you try it out. And then we're running 34 land, which is a little low, but again, this is an aggressive deck and we want to just be playing creatures. So even if we find ourselves like having to mulligan a little bit hard for like some playable hands or keeping land light hands, that's okay because this is an aggro deck. We're fine missing a land drop every now and then, especially after turn 4. It's not ideal, but like that's the way an aggressive deck tends to play. So I think this is the right number of lands for us. So I think that's more or less all I wanted to talk about. I think there's a couple of interesting card choices in here that I just want to touch on. Aragorn, King of Gondor. This is by the way, this is a sick commander. I got completely wrecked by someone playing a like really nicely optimized version of this deck. It wasn't like ultra powerful or anything, like in terms of power level, but it was just like firing on all cylinders and it just felt so unwinnable. Um, so great commander, but not the point here. The reason this card is phenomenal in this deck. So I didn't talk about legendaries, but like legendaries are kind of a non-bo in this deck, right? Because Satya makes copies of them, but those copies are going to activate legend rule, and as soon as you make the copy, one of those copies is going to have to be sacrificed. So not ideal to be copying legendaries. Aragorn's a little bit of an exception to this rule because he has an ETB that says when he enters, you become the monarch. Okay? And those of you who don't know, monarch is a mechanic that once introduced to the game doesn't go away. So if I play Aragorn, I become the monarch. What that means is on my end step, I draw a card if I'm the monarch. That's all it does. And if someone hits me with a creature, any combat damage being dealt to me takes the monarch away from me and they get it. So it's like a tag sort of mechanic. If you tag me, you become monarch, then you draw an end of turn. But then you've got 3 players out for your blood. It's very fun. If you haven't played with it, it's a fun mechanic because it introduces this little mini game where you get a little bit of extra card advantage. It's usually not that impactful unless someone's playing a deck built around it, like Queen Marchesa is a good example, or Aragorn, for example. As a commander, the game becomes about Monarch. Aragorn also says when he attacks, up to 1 target creature cannot block this turn. Or if you're the monarch, creatures can't block at all. Side note before I talk a little bit more about Aragorn is Satya creates tokens that are tapped and attacking. So if we go back and read what he says, you know, you copy something, it comes in tapped and attacking. I should talk a little bit about this. So what does that mean? It means it enters the field as already attacking, so it wasn't declared as an attacker. More on this in a minute. It also means that you get to choose who it's going at. It doesn't have to be going at the same person that you attack. So if I attack player A with Satya and I copy my random creature, that creature I copy can be going at any opponent I want. And if they have something like propaganda, where if a creature is declared as an attacker against that player, we have to pay 2 or we can't attack them, it gets around that because this creature wasn't declared as an attacker, meaning like I did not actually turn it sideways, say I'm attacking you. So for the same reason though, things that trigger when they attack, let's go back to Aragorn for a minute and say like, okay, Aragorn has this ability that says when he attacks, up to one other creature can't block this turn. Or, you know, if you're the monarch, creatures can't block this turn. You will not get this trigger. So like, let's say I attack, I make a copy of Aragorn, and it comes in tapped and attacking. First of all, one of them is going to get sacrificed, either the token copy or the original. If I choose for the original to be sacrificed, the token copy was not declared as an attacker. It came in attacking, so I don't get this attack trigger. So very, very important thing to know when playing a deck like this. The nice thing about Aragorn, though, is the play pattern still works out in your favor, because how it might work is, let's say I play Aragorn. He can't attack right away, right? He doesn't have haste. We don't have a way to give him haste, let's say. We play it, we become the monarch. We draw our card for end of turn, and we say go. Opponent says, well, I have this 1/1 flyer. I'm just going to attack you and get the monarch. So that when it's your turn, you can't make it so all of our creatures can't block. You know, the problem is what you can do is it goes to your turn, you're not monarch, right? But then you attack with Aragorn. So his trigger goes on the stack, right? His trigger says now you have attacked with him. So trigger on the stack. Satya's trigger also goes on the stack. You're the active player, you can order those triggers however you want. So what you want to do is you want to resolve Satya's trigger first, meaning you put Aragorn's on the stack first, and then you put Satya's on the stack on top of it. And then, as you should know, the stack resolves in a last in, first out method. So Aragorn's will resolve, or sorry, Satya's will resolve first. You'll say, okay, I'm going to make a copy of Aragorn. And then you bring in a tapped and attacking token. That one doesn't trigger the attack trigger, but it's okay because the other one did. And then legend rule triggers. And then the Aragorn copy ETB does trigger though, right? So it makes you the monarch again when that token ETBs. And then you can sack it. Like, okay, it's not going to be attacking because it's going to die to legend rule, but your original Aragorn is attacking, and so is whatever else you sent. And now you're the monarch. So now when Aragorn's trigger resolves, it says, oh, you're the monarch? Creatures can't block this turn at all. So pretty neat little trick. Makes Aragorn extremely good in this deck. There are some other nifty tricks with Satya if you want a more powerful deck, like Port Razor is one. I'm not going to go over all of them because you can find some other videos that talk about like more powerful builds of Satya. I chose to go with like a little bit more fair version, but a card like Port Razor has some nutty combos, and you can actually just kill everyone with this because essentially like you can keep sacrificing the, or like you don't keep sacrificing, you keep creating a new Port Razor. So like the original one couldn't attack like the same player again, but the new copy you make in the second combat can. So if you have an open attack against one player, they will die if you have a Port Razor in play, because you can attack them over and over and over and over and over until they're dead. And then you could do the same with another player and then another player until like either everyone's dead or you couldn't get through to one of them. So There are other combos like this that exist with Satya. I'm choosing not to run them, but you can certainly find more info about those on the internet. Cool. So that's all I wanted to run through with the deck. I'm going to do some mulligan practice so we can talk about some opening hands, what we like to keep, what we're looking for, and so forth. So check that out. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe my videos and join my Discord if you haven't. Link in the description below along with the deck list. So let's get into some mulligan practice and then I'm going to play a game with the deck. So stay tuned. Matt from Surf City TCG signing off for 1 second. Be right back. Strike that, reverse it. One more thing I wanted to talk about. So I estimated the deck's power level in here as a 7. So what does that mean? I'm not going to spend a long time talking about this, but I do want to provide a resource that I find to be helpful. It's not the end-all be-all resource. There is not a resource that exists that is perfect for everyone. So I just want to say off the bat, power level is subjective, and players will not hesitate to tell you that and give you their opinion on what power levels. But I think there is a pretty generally agreed upon understanding of what a power level 7 is, what a power level 6 is, what a power level 8 is. It's not perfect. Players will have different ideas of it, but I wanted to give you what I thought was the best resource that exists currently. It's an infographic that someone on Reddit created. So I'm going to link this in the description below. Highly recommend you check it out. Again, not perfect, but I feel like it's a pretty good guideline. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but let's just read what this infographic estimates as a power level 7. Titled, Playing with Power. Decks are largely refined down to just the best cards for their strategy, perfect or nearly perfect land bases, multiple cheap tutors. That part, maybe that's more like a 7.5 in my opinion. Like maybe like 1 or 2 tutors in a 7. Again, my opinion. And multiple cheap tutors, probably more like a high 7 or even an 8. Efficient ramp, draw. Most decks become less generalist as they focus more heavily on their strategy, so just more synergy. Expect to see a lot of powerful staples. This is definitely a good point. And then this little guideline on the side is where I feel like they really got it right. So what is the turn count? Meaning, like, when is the game going to end, probably? With a CEDH deck, we're talking between turns 0 and maybe 4, 3 or 4 at the highest. And then 8s winning on turn 5, 6, 7, very common. 7s winning on turns 7 through 9, very common. So if you don't take anything away from this except for the turn count here, I feel like this is quite accurate in terms of what to expect from a power level 7 game. So that's it. Just wanted to run through that. Again, I'll link this in the description below. It's not perfect, but I really like it. All right, so we're doing some mulligan practice here. So I would encourage you to pause the video and think actively about this. It's going to help you learn and become better. If you try to make the decision, should I keep this hand? Would I keep this hand? Be honest with yourself and let's talk about it. So pause the video, tell me, would you keep this hand? This is your opening 7 and you don't know who your opponents are, assuming we're in a power level 7 game. I think this is keepable. It's pretty slow. We have a turn 3 play, which is the bare minimum I want from a hand. Ideally we've got like a 2-drop, a 3-drop, even a 1-drop. Like we have a decent number of 1-drops. I think this hand is powerful enough that it's keepable. We have a piece of removal that can help mitigate the slowness of this hand. And then we've got a nice burst of card advantage. This card is phenomenal. If you don't remember what free running is, it's if an assassin or commander you control has dealt combat damage this turn, you can pay the free running cost instead of the regular cost. So 5 mana draw 3 becomes 2 mana draw 3 if we have hit anyone with an assassin or our commander. It's quite easy to hit someone with our commander, as you would imagine. So this is really good. 2 mana draw 3. We've got a 3-drop. We also have a sword we could play on 3, but we definitely don't want to do that because we want to play the Virtuoso. We want to copy it the following turn, and we'll get to keep it, right? Because it makes 3 energy on its own. So this hand's pretty good. It's unfortunate that we don't have a 1 or 2 drop. Maybe we're looking to play this on turn 2. Even if we could hit something like a Bloom Tender, I mean, I say even, but like Bloom Tender is like one of the most dangerous cards in the game. So just remove it every time you see it and you'll win like 50% more games. People will be pissed at you, but fuck them. All right, so let's draw. So we didn't draw a playable, unfortunate. That's okay. I guess we might as well just play this tapped. We could like not play it tapped and hold up a mana. I mean, I guess there's no reason not to do that. So let's play Sea of Clouds. This way we represent a Swords of Plowshares, or Counterspell might keep someone from attacking us. You never know. Next turn. We drew a 6-drop. That's okay. So we'll play Mountain, and we will sadly, very sadly, pass again. All right. Now we can play this untapped, so we'll do that. And we'll drop our Whirler Virtuoso. We'll get 3 energy. And we could make a Thopter. Should we do that? Absolutely not. We could do it instant speed if someone was sending a, say, Fairy Mastermind at us, but anything less than that, don't do this. Save your energy. We're going to have better uses for it. Later, once we have got a lot of energy, or if this is going to die, you could think about it, but just don't spend your energy on this right away. All right, let's go to our next turn. Aetherflux Marvel is fine. So we'll drop the Adarkar Wastes and play Satya. So now we'll go to combat. You don't have to send the Whirler Virtuoso. You only have to send Satya, and you'll make a tap and attacking token that's a copy of any creature. Doesn't need to be an attacking creature. So if we have an open attack with Whirler Virtuoso, great. But if we don't, it's fine. Now, if you do have an open attack, you should send him, though. Don't worry about blockers. Like, again, this is an aggressive deck. You need to get in those points of damage. Okay, so let's send both. Assume we have decent attacks. If we don't, we leave him back. On attack, we get 2 energy, and then we make a copy of this dude. Can we do that? Make token copy. Yeah, look at that. So it goes at whoever we want it to go at, and we get 3 energy when it comes in. So look at that. It's turn 4, we're already at 8 energy. Pretty good. And then we have to tap mana for him. So then we have no other plays for the turn, right? So we go to our second main, we have nothing else to do, we move to end step. Satya triggers and says, okay, sack this guy unless you pay 3 energy. Do we want to do that? Hell yeah, we do. Whoops. So now we've got this board, pretty nice. We can't copy this token. So opponents should prioritize removing the original, but if they don't, that's great for you because we can't copy the tokens. Next turn. We don't need to play this out anymore. I mean, what we're going to do is play the sword on this turn. If players are tapped out, we're not worried about removal. We'll drop it on Satya. If they are not tapped out, actually, it probably would have been smart to make a Thopter on end step here, so it could attack. If I had been going a little bit more slowly, and depending on the board state, of course, like I might have considered making a Thopter on end step just so I could put the sword on it. That way, if someone had something like a Swords to Plowshares, you know, if you go to a, be careful with equipment, right? Because equipping an equipment is a major trigger for players to like, it basically calls everyone's attention, right? It's like ringing a bell and saying like, hey, anyone have removal? Do you want a 2-for-1 this guy right now? You know? So just be ultra cautious before just like dropping your equipment. Because if I had a white mana up and I had a swords and I was the opponent, and the opponent says, okay, I'll equip Satya. You're like, oh, hell no, you won't. Swords that, bro. And now we're out of mana, right? Whereas if you have a 1/1 Thopter and you're like, all right, equip that Thopter with the sword, that's a lot more difficult decision for them, right? Do they swords your 1/1 Thopter, waste their Swords to Plowshares, like best removal spell in the game, and then your commander's still up, and so is this board? Probably not, right? And then you get to hit them. Doesn't matter like what you're hitting with, right? And of course you'd prefer to protect your commander with the protection stuff, but if it means like not getting your commander removed in response, then like I think you follow what I'm saying here. So as soon as you land once with the sword, you're in really good spot though, especially with something like Aetherworks Marvel in hand. This is like a recurring card advantage engine. Like this is a game where we're set up well to win. We could even draw 3 if we need. We've got a like cheap removal spell that like is basically like permanent removal. This card's really good. Even in non-energy decks, I think people need to consider playing this card. It's excellent. Let's do another hand. All right, pause the video. This is your opening 7. Do you keep this one? All right. So, I don't know. Let's see. We've got a 2-drop, a 1, 2, and 3. So I like it already. Can we play all of them? Looks like we can. We've got any color land. We've got colorless that could make color if we need. And we've got an energy generator that's also going to like be a group slug / card advantage engine. This hand looks great. I think it's an easy keep. I think it plays out very naturally. We drop, I mean, like, even if we don't draw anything, we play Reconnaissance, right? Then we play Unstable Amulet. We could even like see what we get off it, but you know, it's not really necessary. Great, we got a land. So then we untap, we play the land. Whoops, we already played that land. We play this land, we play Facebreaker, and then boom, we're into turn 4 where we're copying Facebreaker. We're in a very good spot, right? So this hand's just perfect. All right, first hand, opening 7. Tell me, do you keep this one? Man, we're getting some really good hands. This is an easy keep. We've got like options for days here. I think we go like, let's just play this one out, see how it goes. All right, Polywog is such a good draw. Drop Mountain next turn. All right, I think we go Sulphur Falls, Polywog here. Next turn. We drew the Fierce. So good. All right, so we go Battlefield Forge. Talisman. Is it Generatorium? Next turn. Land. All right, so question, do we start with Aragorn? Do we start with Satya? I think if the Polywog is still alive, we start with Satya because it evolves the Polywog. We make a copy. Aragorn can come in later. We don't want to necessarily introduce Monarch right away because, well, it depends on what other people have. But, I mean, this hand's just phenomenal. So let's see if we can get a little bit more iffy hand. These are a little unrealistic. All right. Pause it. Tell me, would you keep this hand? Pretty heavy, right? We have a 5, 5, and an 8. This could cost less, but probably not till later. But we do have a 2-drop. This isn't not a 3-drop. We're not. This is a like you play at the end of the game to win sort of spell, or you play it as a land. I like Horizon in the opener, but we don't have a lot of lands to use off it, so it's just kind of a painful land. This is real sketchy. This is heavily dependent on what opponents are playing. You know, if we had like one more land, like if either of these was a land, I would probably be inclined to keep it because then we can like guarantee we can sort of get into this board wipe first and then start going. But I just don't like this hand. I feel like there are a lot of draws that like put us in a really awkward spot with this hand. So I don't think this is a keep, but it's close. And it could work out if you kept it. I just like to see another 7 versus keeping this one. All right, here's our second 7. So we made the wrong decision, right? Because we drew no land now. No, don't be one of those players. Don't be results oriented. We made the right decision on the first hand. It just happened to be that we drew no land. So we'll go to 6. That's fine. Here's our 6. Do you keep this one? Do you keep this one? If you said no, maybe go to the hospital because like this is the best hand of all time. We don't play the fish early, I think, because you know, in this deck, this is not a deck that wants to be playing turn 1 fish, unless you've got like no 2 or 3 drops maybe. But you know, this is the easiest keep of all time. The hard part is, what do we bottom? I think we have to bottom a land. We could also bottom the sword, but I don't like to bottom the sword, so let's just bottom this blue land. And we've got the surveil land on turn 1, so we can hopefully draw into another land. So we'll play the archive, we will put that in the graveyard, and we'll go to our next turn. Yep, there's our second land. Thank you, surveil land. So what do we do now? I think it's pretty easy that we play Ledger Shredder first. And then this hand plays itself out. The rest is easy peasy. Let's do another one. All right, pause it. Do you keep this one? Heck yeah, this hand's great. Come on, let's get a hard one. All right, pause it. Tell me, do you keep this hand? Do I know if I keep this hand? We have 2 land. This is a land, right? Don't ignore that. And we have a mana rock. We have no card draw. Oh, I take it back. We have this. So we have like a cantrip, right? We can draw into another land, which is what we need. We have a 3-drop, which is good. I forgot if this is the opening hand. I think it is. As an opening 7, I don't know. I'd probably just draw another 7 here. This is pretty medium hand. I think you could keep it. I'm just going to go to second 7 because I'm greedy. Yeah, this hand's way worse. Well, I don't know. Is it way worse? We've got a counter. We can like hold this as a counter, right? And we can play this as land if we need to. I think this hand's good. We have like, we don't have a creature to ramp into, right? But the deck is... How many creatures? We've got 30 creatures, pretty decent number, about a third of the deck. So in the next 3 turns, which is when we need it, we should draw a creature most of the time. Given that there are 90 cards left, we have 3 cards to draw. I think this hand gets there. Is it better to go to 6? Probably not. If we didn't have this talisman, I would say yes, let's go to 6. But we do have the talisman, so I think this is keepable. So let's see how it plays out. All right, we've got the arena. I guess we'll open with that because, well, actually we don't want to do that because we have a 1-drop. So let's play Orchard, assuming we're not going first. All right, still no creature, not good. We've got 1 more draw. The odds are in our favor, as the kids say. Talisman. Pass. Did not get there. Although, maybe we did get there. Let's see. So let's play the beach. You know, we want to leave up white unless... So if Orchard can make white, we'll leave that up. If not, we'll leave the deserted beach up, whichever. I guess tapping this is safe. Assuming it can make blue. So let's ponder. We'll look at the top 3. Ah, there they all are. All right, so we're definitely keeping these on top. You know, we could grumble and bluff that we didn't find a creature and then flash this out. Ha, gotcha. That's probably what I would do, honestly. So let's put these back. We'll put the fountain at the bottom, then the conduit goblin. We'll draw this guy, and we'll be like, pouty face, pass, and then haha, haha. Hopefully we draw a card off it, but probably not. Let's just assume not. Next turn. All right, now, what do? Well, we play land. Do we play Conduit Goblin or do we play Satya? Lol, is that a real question? Slam this dude, right? You know, we could have played Conduit Goblin, equipped this with Shadow Spear, and played, you know, given this +1/+0. Don't get too fancy. Just play your commander, copy the Archivist. So good. Now, the tax for someone using a fetch land is you gain 2 life and draw 2 cards. Seems good. All right, we're going to do 1 more. Do you keep this one? Opening 7. Pause the video. Pause it. I'm talking to you. No, this hand's not a keep. We have no plays for till turn 4, and our command is 4. Don't be keeping this hand. Although I will tell you, Aerial Extortionist is like nuts, bonkers, OP in this deck. Because if you copy it, you get the ETP, you get the damage trigger. It's not an attack trigger, which makes it ultra powerful in this deck. So Saboteurs, as they're called, are very good in this deck because, like, as I mentioned earlier, you don't get attack triggers, but combat damage triggers are actually better in this deck than attack triggers, which is not normally the case. I don't think this hand's good enough, even though we've got maybe 2 of the best cards in the deck, 3 of the best cards in the deck. It's actually like pretty close because these literally are 3 of the best cards in the deck, but I don't think it's, unless we're against like some ultra slow decks or like, you know, you feel like the power level is pretty low in the pod, maybe I'd keep this one. But even then, I don't know if I want the 3 most powerful cards against a weak pod because that's not a fun experience either. So let's go to our second 7. Pause it. Do you keep this one? Heck yeah, look at this hand. Oh my god, this is a dream come true hand. Look at that. Best 1-drop in the deck. Maybe even better than Esper Sentinel. Probably not, but maybe. And then like follow-ups, straight up curve, beautiful. Let's do one more. This is our opening 7. Do you keep this one? Ooh, finally a tough one. I don't know. I'm not a gambler, so I probably wouldn't, because like God forbid you preordain and there are no lands and you did not draw land with the 3rd card, which has happened to me about a metric shit ton of times. That feels real bad. But I imagine this hand gets there pretty often. We've got 2 cantrips, one of which can scry 2 to the bottom. You have to be very diligent and like disciplined and make sure you're scrying any non-land you get to the bottom, even if they're nuts, which hurts. Like, you don't want to do that, but we have ways to shuffle, so it's not like they're gone forever. Let's just play it out and see what happens. I wouldn't keep this, just for the record. Arcane Sickness is a nice draw if we're not going to draw a land. So we'll play the blue land. We'll say ow, 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 ow. And I think we cast... I think we have to cast Preordained first. Scry 2. All right, let's bottom this one. Again, even though we found 1 land, we have to bottom this, even though it's a 2-drop. We just have to with this hand. We have other 2-drops. We don't need it. So we'll draw this one. And we're good for next turn, at least. Yeah, see, like, this is why we have to bottom the Riddle Gate, unfortunately. So now we'll shock this in. This is a painful hand, right? Thankfully we drew the Signet, so we... Oh, this doesn't even make blue. So yeah, the Signet was a really good draw, because now we can play Tune the Narrative. Draw a card. Still not a land. Uh-oh. See, now we're in trouble. Now we're, like, drawing off the top. Yep, didn't get there. Sad. That's okay. What do we do now? So we could play Skyclave if there's a good target for it. Someone's got a Smothering Tithe, Ristic Study, something like, you know, that's really going to mess you up. Otherwise, I think the Superconductor is fine. Could also drop the Talisman into Reconnaissance and hold up Galvanic Discharge if someone's got a good target for removal. It really depends on what the board's looking like. We'll just make the like normal play, which is like, let's say there's nothing majorly threatening. We'll play this guy. We'll get some energy. We'll go to our next turn, hope to draw land. We did not get there. So I think this turn we are forced to just play the Talisman, play the Reconnaissance, hold up Galvanic Discharge. Next turn, still no land. That's a bummer, but at least we can do something, right? We'll play Satya, we'll copy the Superconductor. Now we got a land. This comes in play taps, a little bit unfortunate, but that's okay. We got there anyway, and we're not super far behind, even though we've missed, what is it, 3 land drops now? It's pretty bad, given how many cards we've seen. We bottomed 1, and we've drawn 16. So we've drawn, you know, 17, 18 cards, something like that, and we've seen 3 land. Very out of the norm. You know, this deck's running approximately 33% land. In 18 cards, we should have seen 6 land instead we've seen 3. So a little bit of a bummer, but we're not out of this, right? So I think we're doing okay here. So I'm going to stop here. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if you like that mulligan practice. I don't have to continue doing it, but I think people are getting something out of it. So let me know whether you did or did not like it or wanted to see anything different, and enjoy the game.
Yeah,
In
I think
person is a much different experience. It's a lot more fun. So
yeah, it's definitely more fun in person.
not that this is bad. It's just in fun. In person it feels a lot different.
Well, it's easier for me to, like most people's webcams, including mine, like you can't really make out every card. So, I can't keep up with the board states the way I'd like to on here.
Sure.
Like I would be able to in person, I feel like.
Well, exactly. And also it's just like, you know, one thing is the anonymity of the internet makes people assholes on here sometimes. And the other thing is like having face-to-face interactions is like adds a whole like layer of complexity to the game, because you can read people's emotions and body language, and it's hard to describe.
I understand that. I can always tell by tone of voice on here for whatever reason. I'm gonna pick that up. I'll take a blue one, baby. I'll take a blue lollipop. Thank you so much. It tastes like cotton candy. It tastes like cotton candy. That is right. All right. Sorry, guys. All right. Let's see. I just want a fucking 3-land hand. That's all I want. A mana dork, 1 land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. I'll keep that.
Nice. Ready?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'll start us off. Good luck. Have fun. Draw for turn. I'll play a training center and pass.
You're muted, Bobber.
Yep, draw, and then I'll play a mountain. Tap 1 to play a spiked pit trap.
Ooh.
And pass.
Oh, okay. Draw.
But it has flash.
Okay, cool. I can do it on his end step then.
There you go. Bam. All right. Draw, play an Arctic Tree Line, enters tapped, and pass.
Right. Draw return. I'll play a lamp return. I'll play an Opal Palace, pass.
All right. On your end step, I'll tap 1, cast Tune the Narrative. I draw a card and get 2 energy. Untap, upkeep, draw. And I'll play Spectator Seating and pass turn.
Tap. Draw. It's kind of handy. Play an island. Tap 2 and bring out Wyll. And then pass.
Okay. Untap, upkeep, draw. Oh, this is fantastic. Forest. Tap it for an emerald medallion and pass.
Draw return. I'm going to play a lamp return. I'll play a forest, and I'm going to tap these. Okay, baby, thank you. Okay, and then I'll bring out Wondertail Mentor. Just a and pass.
All right. On your end step, I'll flash out Archivist of Ogma. It's a 2/2. Whenever an opponent searches their library, I gain 1 and draw a card. Tap, upkeep, draw. I'll play play Arid Mesa as land for turn. I'll crack it for a... Let's get a plains, I guess. Tap 3. I'll cast a Professional Facebreaker. And then I'll go to combat and I will send 2 over at what's Wandertail Mentor? 2/2. I'll send at you, Megilla, for 2 damage.
Okay, I'll take 2.
Okay. And then on damage, I will create a treasure. And that'll be it. Pass.
Right. Untap. Oh. Play island for turn. Let's see. Not ideal. We'll tap 2 to bring out Dungeon Delver. And pass.
Okay. Untap. Come on, lands. Oh, gosh. I kept a 2-lander and an emerald, hoping I'd get a land.
That sucks.
Yeah, those are the breaks. All right, no lands. I'll pay 2 for Sarah's blessing. And I'll pass. Right. Attacking creatures have Vigilance.
Vigilance. Tap, draw for turn. All right, I'll play a land for turn. I'll play a forest. I am going to tap my forest for a Soul Reap. And then I'm gonna tap 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will bring out my Commander Chishiro.
You don't have enough mana. Because
I should.
Opal Palace has to cost 1 to make red, right?
Okay. Well, then I'll just I'll use Wandertail Mentor.
Okay.
No. Oh yeah, you're right.
That's for colorless.
It would, yeah,
right?
yeah, it would be colorless, yeah. So I'll tap Wandertail Mentor for my red. Sorry.
So then he'll enter with a +1 counter then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Assuming you want to use the Opal Palace, which makes sense.
Yeah. And then on my end step, he'll get another 1+1 counter because of his ability, and I'll pass.
Also, you get Wait,
So-
also you get a +1 counter on your Wandertail Mentor too.
No, let's see.
I think you have 1 extra mana open.
No,
Yeah.
he had to filter 1 into Opal Palace.
Yeah, you're right.
Which he could have done from his forest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he doesn't have to tap the Wandertail Mentor.
Oh, true.
No.
So the forest into the Opal Palace, then a forest, and then the Soul Ring. That's enough to tap for his commander. So
Yeah.
you tapped it right the first time.
No, because he played Soul Ring.
He still makes it colorless, so he needs a red. So
It's because
you just untap the
Oh, you played the
forest.
Soul
Yeah,
Ring this
he
turn.
played Soul Ring this
Okay.
turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I'll be quiet then.
No, you're all good, man. You're all good. I appreciate it. All right, that's all I got.
Damn, that was a good turn. And upkeep, draw. I'll play Aether Hub. When that enters, I'll get 1 energy. And then tap 4 for Satya. Go to combat. You've got a 1/1. You have 1 mana up, Bob?
Yep.
The trap costs 5 to
5.
use. Alright, Satya's going at you, Chishiro.
Okay.
Archivist. Facebreaker at you, Bob, and Archivist at you, Megilla. And then on attack, I will make a copy of Facebreaker, which will also go at you, Chishiro.
Okay, so I'm taking 3 commander, and then how big is your Facebreaker?
2 power.
Okay, so I will take 3 commander. And
You have to take the Facebreaker damage.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. How big is your Facebreaker? I'm sorry.
It's a 2/3. It's got menace, though.
Oh, both of them have menace. Okay. Heard.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone took everything, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to make six treasures because I hit 3 players and I have 2 Facebreakers.
Yep.
That was pretty good. Probably shouldn't overextend here. Oh, I also make 2 energy on attack. I'm just gonna... I'll crack 1 treasure. No, forget it. I'm just gonna move to end step and I'll pay 3 energy to keep the Facebreaker copy. And I'll pass.
Tap. Draw. Play a mountain. Tap 4 for Shortcut Seeker. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, I venture into the dungeon. Pass again.
Okay. Untap, upkeep, heart of the cards.
I can't speak for everyone, but I wouldn't mind if you just bottom it and draw land. Does anyone mind?
If he bring is he land screwed? No, I don't mind that at all. No, I don't mind that.
Go ahead.
Bob, do you care?
No.
Yeah, just bottom that card, draw another one, Megilla, if you want.
Yeah.
No one wants to play against someone mana screwed. It's like,
yeah, I'll bottom. Okay. And get a land?
I mean, just draw another card and see.
Okay.
Just like
it's a land. Thank you guys.
Nice.
All right. I will play a Canopy Vista. Enters tapped. Yeah, that's great. Okay. And I pass.
All right. Going to drop return. Yay. Lamp return, I got a mountain. Okay, so what I'll do here. All right. I am going to tap, let's see. I'll tap 2 green. And I will play Lion Umbra. And I will put that on Chishiro. Enchant modified creature gets 3/3 and has vigilance and reach. It also has Umbra armor. So if it would be destroyed, I would just destroy the enchantment instead. That's going to give me a 2/2 red spirit creature token with menace. Okay. Hold on, sorry boys. I got it from there we go. There's one. So that give me a 2/2 red spirit creature token with menace, and then I have 3 colorless and red up at the moment. I could tap back for green if need be. What I'll do. Okay, yeah, I will just go ahead and I'm going to let's see. I'm gonna move to combat. And I am going to swing my commander over at you, Satya. It is a 9/9.
No blocks.
No blocks. Okay. It's got vigilance, and then I will pass my turn.
Don't you have an end step trigger?
Yes, I do. Oh yeah, my bad. And then these all will get an extra counter. And that's all I got.
Okay. 9. Wow. Untap. Upkeep, draw. Play Scalding Tarn. I'll crack 2 treasures. Play Talisman of Conviction. I'm gonna sack this Scalding Tarn to fetch a island. I'll tap for 1 white and cast a Reconnaissance. And then I'll tap for 5. And I'll play a Sphinx of the Revelation. It's a 4/5 with flying and lifelink that says whenever I gain life, I get that much energy. And then it has a tap ability to pay energy and draw cards. Alright, I'll go to combat. You're pretty untouchable now, Chishiro. How big is your stuff, Bob?
1125.
Nice. Alright, Satya will go at you, Bob. Both base breakers at you, Megilla, and I'll make a copy of the Sphinx on attack, and that'll go at you, Chishiro.
Okay. The Sphinx has flying.
Yeah, it's a 4/5 with flying and lifelink.
I would kill it though. This has reach. My Chishiro has reach because of my number.
You want to block?
Yeah, I mean, unless you're gonna like, yeah, I'll block.
I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna do.
No, yeah, I'll block.
Okay.
I can,
And then is anyone else blocking? I guess you guys can't, right?
How much of
Yeah, I will block Satya.
He's got menace, so you'd have to block with both.
Yeah. All right, never mind. I can't block.
It's 4 going at you, Megilla.
4 in total? Okay, I'll take 4.
Okay. I will pull the Sphinx out of, well, yeah, I'll pull it out of combat. Oh, I made 2 energy on attack. With the Reconnaissance, so I'll untap it, and it neither deals nor receives combat damage.
nice.
And then I'll untap everything at the end of combat after it's done damage. So I will make 4 treasures from hitting 2 opponents. Okay. Second main, I'll crack 3 of these treasure. Actually, I'm gonna crack 1 treasure. I can play it this turn. Sure, we'll risk it. I'll exile this card. It's playable this turn. Sink into Stupor. That's not bad. I'll crack 5 treasures and I'll cast Sink into Stupor and I'll target Chishiro.
Okay. Where to sink in the stupor?
It's a bounce spell. Or
Okay. In response, I'm gonna tap 1 to tap this for green, and then I'll tap this and have a floating extra, and I'm gonna play Gaia's Gift.
nice.
And that will make it, yeah, it will have reach, trample, hexproof, and indestructible.
Yep.
And then we'll get an extra.
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
Alright. Crack 3 treasures. I'll cast Whirler Virtuoso. It's a 2/3 that gives me 3 energy on it when it enters, and I could pay 3 energy to make a 1/1 Thopter. I'll go to end step, and this gets sacked unless I pay. I'm not going to pay for it. I'll pass.
Something good, please. Yes. All right. We're going to tap 1 red, 1 blue, and play Is It Charm to draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. It's also not great. Discard this. And discard this Diviner's Portent as well. Play this Frostboil Snarl. It comes in tapped. And we'll tap 2 to play an Izzet Signet. And then we'll pass.
Okay. Untap, upkeep, draw. All right. I guess so. Play a Croson Verge, enters tapped.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it'll do it for next turn. What do I want to do? All right. Well, I don't want to sit this turn out, so I will pay 3 for my commander. And I end my turn.
Tap. Okay. Top return. Return. All right. Sir City, you want to politic? Because I feel like we're like going at each other a little bit. Or you just want to just play it out how we play it.
What? I'm open.
Okay.
What are you suggesting?
Okay. I could do a lot this turn probably, but I would rather not and let the other guys do stuff instead of me and you doing the Battle of the Giants over here.
Okay.
You want to just leave each other alone for like a turn?
Sure.
Okay. The only thing that I'm going to do then is, okay, so I'll leave you alone for a turn. Gil, you don't have a lot going on, Bobby. You're just getting bored up with 35. Everybody's decent on life. Okay, I'm just going to tap 2 colorless. I'm going to bring out Swiftfoot Boots, and then I'm going to tap 1 colorless and put that on Chishiro. So it has hexproof, and that's going to give me another 2/2 red spirit creature token with menace. And I will put my little counters on my guys, and I'll pass.
Tap upkeep, draw. Wait, this was up 2. Alright, I'll tap 5 and second thought. Guy has reach. He's a 4 or 5. Alright, combat. Satya at you, Megilla. Sphinx at you, Bob. And I'll make a copy of... I'll just copy Facebreaker again.
And swing at who?
Satya's going at Megilla. It's a 3/5 with menace. Sphinx is going at Bob. It's a 4/5 with flying.
All right, taking 4.
And don't you have to send the Facebreaker at somebody?
No. You can copy any creature. Doesn't have to be an attacking creature.
But the face breaker is a tapped and attacking creature. That's what he's saying.
Oh, I see. Yeah, makes sense.
So who's that going at?
Yeah, good question. I guess it's gonna go at you, Megilla.
Okay, well, it took 3. How much for the face breaker?
2 more. It's got menace also.
Okay. Alrighty then.
All right. So on damage, I'll make 6 treasures, and I'll untap everything at the end of combat. I'll gain 4 from lifelink on the Sphinx. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that'll give me 4 energy. Oh, plus I made 2 from Satya, so I'll go up to 13. Did not play a land. I'm gonna pay 1 to activate the Facebreaker to exile a card that I can play this turn. It's a Royal Cartographer. I'm gonna do it again. Damn. Go for a land, but some of these are bad. Do I have to do something? Up to 1. Alright. I'll pay 5 for the Aerial Extortionist. I'm not going to choose anything. I don't have to. And I will pay 2 more, 1 and a treasure for the Royal Cartographer, which will give me nothing. It's on landfall. I'm going to try to hit a land, so I'm going to exile 1 more card. Yeah. Alright. Play a Sacred Foundry tapped. That'll give me 1 energy from the Royal Cartographer. And then I'll go to end step. I'll pay 3 energy to keep the Facebreaker, and I'll pass.
Upkeep. Draw. Not great. Anyone feel like letting 2 damage in?
Sure.
I'll take 2.
All right, cool. I'm going to swing the Shortcut Seeker at you.
Okay. I'll take 2.
And now I need to pick a dungeon. We're going to go with the Lost Mine of Phandelver. So first room, I'm going to scry 1 twice. No. Also no. Okay, and then I'll pass turn.
Okay. All right, time to try and start something. All right. Untap, upkeep, draw. Shit. Hmm. All right. Let's pay 4 for Juniper Order Ranger. Yeah. In my turn.
All right. Tap. Turn. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see what I can do here. All right, we'll go for it. Okay, so it's a land job. All right. The first thing that I'm going to do, let's tap. Let's see. I'll tap Soul Ring for colorless, and I'll use the other colorless to tap this for red. So that'll give me a red and a colorless, and then I'll have red and colorless. Okay, perfect. And then I'll tap 1, 2, 3 more. So that would be the red and the colorless. Do I have enough to do what I want to do here? I need to check this shit out real quick. I need to see. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to figure out if I got the mana to do what I want to do. Yeah, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 6. Yeah, we should be able to do this. Okay, so I'll tap red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to play Aki Battle Squad. And then I am going to, at instant speed, I'm going to tap my Wonder Mentor for a red mana in my forest, and I'm going to play Twin Inferno. It's an instant, and my Chishiro is going to gain double strike until the end of turn. And then, yep. So I will go ahead. I'm going to swing Satya, or I'm going to swing Chishiro at you, Surf City. And it has vigilance, but I will untap this, and I'll get an additional combat phase. You want to declare blockers before my second combat?
Yeah, what is it? What are its stats?
It is at the moment, it is a 9, 10, 11, 12. A 12 with double strike, so 24 with vigilance.
Cards in hand?
Does it have trample?
Let's see. Does it have trample? No, does not have trample at the moment.
Okay. Cards in hand?
How many cards do I have in hand?
Yeah.
1.
Okay. And how much mana do you have available?
1.
Let's
see. Yeah.
Untapped.
Okay. Yeah, I've got 1 untapped.
So, just trying to figure out if you could possibly give it trample.
No. Let's see. No, I do not believe that. Well, hold on. Let me see. Just vigilance and reach right now, so I don't have trample.
Sure. I'll block with the Archivist of Ogma.
Okay. And then I'll get an additional combat phase. And I need to swing it at somebody while I got it. Yeah, should probably fucking have trample there.
Might as well just do it again.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just swing it at you a second time.
All right, block with. No. I guess I'll block with one of these Facebreaker.
Okay. And that is my turn. Also, this will get another 1+1 counter because I expended 4 that turn, I believe. And then I'm losing my end step, and then I'll get another counter.
Okay. On your end step, sorry.
Go ahead.
End step, I'll crack 3 treasures and tap the Sphinx to pay X energy, draw X cards. I will pay 6 energy. Go down to 5.
Nice. I would like
6 cards.
Card draw. That would be great right now, but I don't have it. All right, that's all I got.
Bunch of untap, upkeep, draw. Right, I'll play Horizon of Progress as land for turn. Trigger Royal Cartographer to give me 1 energy. And then I'll pay blue and 1 for a Polywog Prodigy. So 1/3 with Evolve that draws me a card when opponents cast a non-creature spell with mana value less than his power.
What's his power?
Right now he's a 1/3, but he has Evolve, which means he gets a +1 counter if I play any creature ETBs that has larger power or toughness.
So and you said any non-creature spell, you draw a card for it.
Yeah, so right now if you play a 0 mana non-creature spell, I draw a card.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like this is the time. Tap 4. I'll cast Aragorn, King of Gondor. So that's going to evolve the Polywog. And when he ETBs, I become the Monarch. So I'll set it in the client, the little crown thing. He's a 4/4 with Vigilance and Lifelink. When he attacks, up to 1 creature can't block, or if I'm the Monarch, creatures in general can't block. I can't attack with him right now because he doesn't have haste, though. And if I bring a copy in of him, it'll die to Legend Rule, and also it won't trigger the attack clause because it comes in attacking versus being declared as an attacker. Alright, I'll go to combat. Who has flying blockers or reach?
I do.
I have reach.
Okay. We've got a ton of creatures. You've just got your commander who can block flying, BM?
Yes.
Okay. Aerial Extortionist is going to go at Bob. Sphinx will go at BM. You've just got one. You've got 2 blockers, Megilla?
I have 2.
Okay.
How big is the Sphinx?
I'll send both. Hang on, let me just declare all the attacks and then I'll let you know. I'll send both Face Breakers at you, Megilla. And Satya. Actually, so Megilla, if I just send one Face Breaker at you, can you not block it?
Negative.
Otherwise, I'll send both otherwise.
Send them both, baby.
All right. If you insist. Whirler Virtue. So, okay. Sphinx is the only thing coming at you, Bob. It's a 4/5 flying. 2/3 menaces at you, Megilla. And then 3, all 3 of these at you, BM. And then before blocks, I have my attack trigger from Satya. So I'm going to bring in a copy of Aerial Extortionist, which has an ETB trigger to exile a non-land permanent. I will target the Lion Umbra.
Nice.
So you can cast it. It's not like permanently in exile. Like
okay.
But if you cast it, or if anyone casts a spell from not their hand, Aerial Extortionist says I draw a card if that happens.
Right. Yeah, but no, that takes away my reach. I got you. Okay, so what were the power of the 3?
And then the Aerial Extortionist is going to be going at you also, BM. So you've got a 2/3 vanilla, you've got a 3/5 with menace, and you've got 2 4/3s with flying.
Okay, so.
And then it's 4 in the air at you, Bob, and 2 2/3s with menace at you, Miguel.
I'll take the 8 flying. Let's see that. 25. And then you said the vanilla. I would obviously block that with like Chishiro or something. And then what's the size of the menace? The creature with menace coming at me.
It's my commander. It's a 3/5.
Okay. Yeah, I would block that as well with my 2 spirits. Or yeah. You see, I mean, if I block with my 2 spirits, I guess I would Would I lose one? Yeah, no, I will block that with Aki and Wondertail.
And
Okay.
I will block one of the original professional facebreaker.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Double block.
Yep.
It's cool. All right, so I'm gonna remove that one from combat, and it won't deal any damage. And then the 4 hit you, right, Bob?
How did you remove it from combat?
I haven't had the chance to speak yet.
Okay, go ahead.
I am tapping this to tap this for 2, 3, 4, 5. Sacrifice the spiked pit trap, targeting your Sphinx. I roll 2d20s and pick the highest from Wyll's effect. 14. Okay. So the Sphinx takes 5 damage and I make a treasure.
Nice. Does this help with that? Only combat damage. Cool. You got it. I'm removing it from combat with reconnaissance.
I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if no one else has anything else, then we can... Oh, I'm going to remove both of the things that were going at UBM also. So you won't lose anything. You'll take 8 in the air, which I think you did. And then you took 2 Magilla and you took 0 Bob. Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay. And then on combat damage, I have 2 triggers for the Aerial Extortionist, so I get to exile 2 things. I will pick the Swiftfoot Boots for the first one. I can't target your commander, even though the boots will be gone at that point. Yeah. I'll target the Aki Battle Squad.
I think you could target the commander, because the triggers would resolve in order on the stack.
I know, but the problem is like the targets have to be declared at the same time, and it can't be chosen.
Oh, you're right, because the targets happen on combat damage, which is simultaneous.
Yeah.
Tricky.
Cool. And then I will make 4 treasures. All right, that was pretty good. I'm going to crack 1 treasure to cast a Preordain. Scry 2, draw a card. I'll just bottom both of these. Tap 1 for a Soul Ring. Guess I'll tap 2 for this Decoction module. It's an artifact that says when a creature enters under my control, I get 1 energy, and I can pay 4 and tap it to return a creature I control to its owner's hand. Sorry, I forgot to make my 2 energy on attack. And then I'll move to end step. This will get exiled unless I pay 5 energy. I'm not gonna pay. I'll pass.
Okay, untap. Upkeep. Draw. Mountain.
We gotta catch up, Barbarino.
7.
Yeah.
Surf City's popping off, man.
Yeah, all the treasures
2,
I've accrued has been huge.
3.
Oh, I forgot to draw from Monarch as well. I'm going to do that now.
5 to play Zalto, Fire Giant Duke. So 7/3 trample. Whenever it gets dealt damage, I venture into the dungeon. Oh, I rolled dice. Wyll gets a counter from that. So he's a 2/2 now. Pass.
Twice as powerful.
Okay, untap. Upkeep, please be a land. Okay, I will play a Scavenger Ground.
Hey.
Woo. Damn. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to pay 3 for a Gore Claw. pair of Sisma. And Juniper is going to get a +1. Angor Claw will get a +1. Then I will pay 2 green for an Iron Scale Hydra. And it's going to get a +1. Okay. All right. Yeah, with that, I will end my turn.
All right, untap. Let's see what we draw into here. Right. Interesting. Okay, so you said I can play my cards from exile, correct?
Correct, but if you do, I draw a card.
Okay, heard. Well, you're gonna get some cards, brother. All right. Let's see what I got. Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll tap 2 green. I'm gonna bring out Lion Umbra once more. Let's see, Vigilance and Reach. Got the Umbra armor. I'll go ahead. I'll put that back on Chishiro. That's gonna make me another 2/2 Red Spirit Creature token. 1 menace.
So I'll draw 2, one from the Polywog, because his power's 3 now, and one from the Aerial Extortionist.
And then what I will do is I'm going to tap 2 colorless and let's see, Bruno Moss. And I'm going to bring out my Swiftfoot Boots. I'll put that back on my commander. It's going to make me another 2/2 Red Spirit Creature token 1 menace.
I'll respond to that, I think.
What would you like?
I'll pay a blue, lose a life, and I will give you an offer you can't refuse. So
What does that do?
It's a counter, and you make 2 treasures tokens.
Okay. So you'll counter that spell, so that will go to my graveyard.
That was cast from exile, right? I exiled it last turn?
Yeah.
So I drew it to you again.
Okay. So I will get 2 treasures. I will not get a spirit, correct? Okay. And let's see. So if I've got 2 treasures, that leaves me, what I got? 4 open. Perfect. I will go ahead and tap. Let's see. I'm gonna tap 1, 2, and then let's see. Do I not have another floating? Yeah, I'll tap 1, 2. I'm going to play, and then 3. I guess I'll turn this guy for 3. I'm going to play Turi and Mauler. So anytime you guys cast a spell, it will get a 1/1 counter. And I will go ahead and go to combat. Let's see. That would have vigilance. The smart thing would have been to put that shit on that. Tap it. Okay. What do you have up for blockers right now, Surf?
2/3, 3/5, 2/3, 4/4, 1/3, 3/5. Bunch of smallish stuff.
A bunch of chunkers.
Yeah.
Right.
This can also make 1/1 flyers if I pay 3 energy.
I know. I just want that dang Monarch, bro. I want the Monarch. I don't think I have enough to get through to get it at this point. But yeah, I'll go ahead and I will swing. Let's see. I'll swing Chishiro at you since it has the vigilance. So it doesn't have trample or anything at the moment. So that's just 13.
That's it.
Yep. Yeah, that will be it for right now. And I'll pass.
I'm gonna. I'll block with. I'm gonna make a 1/1 and chump block with it. So I'll pay 3 energy, but when it enters, I make 1 of it back. So, and then yeah, and then you passed. You said.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's, upkeep, draw. I'll play Plaza of Heroes. Tap Soul Ring for a Talisman of Progress.
By the way, I forgot this is gonna have this will get an additional counter because of Chishiro, and then this will get 2 because I expended 4. I missed my trigger.
And I'll get 1 energy from landfall. And then I'll pay 2 white and blue for a Riddle Gate Gargoyle. ETB, I'll get 3 energy plus 1, so 4 total. It says, when I attack, I can pay double energy to give a creature lifelink. Till end of turn. Alright, and tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Goldspan Dragon.
Nice.
That's a 4/4, so it's going to evolve the Polywog. And I get 1 energy. Alright. I think that's good enough. I'll go to combat. Anything before attacks. If I attack with Aragorn, everything's going to be unblockable. So if you guys have interaction, this would be the time.
I do not. See if I make it through this turn.
Okay. Cards in hand, everyone?
1.
3.
4.
Okay.
I'm at your mercy, my dude. Tap that, man.
Yeah. I think you're the biggest existential threat to me, so I am going to kill you.
I would say so, dude. I would do the exact same thing if I were you, buddy.
All right. Let me just see how much I have here. 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 8 is 13, 17, 25 exactly.
25 exactly. That will get her done, brother.
And then, well, hold on. Don't scoop yet. There are other players. I don't know if they'll do anything, but you never know.
Yeah.
All right, so all of those going at you. Actually, I guess you have no flying, right, Bob? I guess I'll send the gold span over at you, Bob, and I'll send the polywog at you, BM. So, and I'll make a copy of the aerial extortionist when that enters. Let me get my energy this time. +2 from attack, and then +1 from that copy entering. I'll exile. I don't even want to exile anything. I'll hit. What?
Exile my spirit, bro. You've been exiling my stuff. I'm messing with you. Okay. So how much is coming?
Exile your Is It Signet, Bob.
Really?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm having trouble. Please try in a little while.
Okay. It's exiled over here. I can cast it next turn.
Replay it. Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I have Exaxes going at you, BM. So it's 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 8 is 17, plus 4 is 21.
Got 21.
Wait,
Hang on.
that's not
Yeah,
right.
because you had 25. I know you sent the 4
Oh, the Aragorn too. Plus 4 is 25.
Nice. Well played, sir. Good job.
And then
That
the
will
Goldspan is going at you, Bob, for 4 in the air.
that would kill me. Shouldn't have politicked with you, man. I should have tried to murder you. No, good game, brother. Good game. You did
GG.
really well.
All right, on damage, I get to exile 2 more things. I will choose the Emerald Medallion and the Gore Claw.
You gonna get rid of the Gore Claw?
Yes,
You can recast it.
you can
That
recast
fog,
it, yeah.
fog would have been real nice that I was going to draw next turn.
And I'll make 4 treasures from hitting 2 players. Okay, and then I am just going to move to end step. Or at the end of combat, I'll untap everything. Because Reconnaissance is OP. And move to end step, draw from Monarch, pay 5 energy to keep this dude, and I'll pass.
All right. Good luck, Bobs and Miguel. Good game. Sir.
GG, man.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a
GG.
good
Untap.
night.
Upkeep, draw. Play a mountain. Well, this is fun. Tap 2 to bring back my Is It Signet. Draw your damn card.
I'll draw 3 cards, actually.
Oh, yeah, because you have 3 of them. Yeah.
Well, I have 2, and I have the Polywog.
Two,
What? I'm sorry. What untapped all your stuff, Matt?
3.
Reconnaissance.
Then it wouldn't have dealt damage.
No,
Yeah.
it's been errated. You can look it up. It's stupid.
Oh, okay.
Remove
Yeah.
target attacking creature you control from combat. It says it neither deals nor receives combat damage this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look it up, you'll see it has added like rules text to specify, but you can do it.
Yeah, no, you can see it in the errata text.
Yeah,
They just didn't
yeah.
make alternate art for.
Yeah.
In the
So,
errata text.
so
That's
the reason
one of the worst erratas in the game. Then.
Well, no, the reason is like at the end of combat, a creature is still considered attacking, but it's past the combat damage step, so that's why you're allowed to do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand that it works that way, but considering what the original card says,
Yeah, it's confusing AF. Agreed.
well, it also means that that card is probably one of the worst enchantments in the game. And if I had had any enchantment removal all game, it would be the first target. But I have had
valid. It is very
so
good.
yeah, tapping 3 to play Imoen, Mystic Trickster, is not going to do anything. How big are your creatures, Gorilla?
Not big enough.
No, but like how big are they? I need to know this for reasons.
I got a 6/6, 4/5, and a 4/6.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing Zalto at you, Surf City, and I'm gonna swing the Shortcut Seeker at you, Gorilla. Please don't block it. You don't need to.
How big is it?
It's a 2/5.
All right, I'll take.
I'll take
Yeah, otherwise I'll take 2. So you don't. Yeah.
And Surf City, you've got a 7/3 at you with Trample.
I took it. You're Monarch.
Oh, okay. You took the 7. All right. So I'm venturing into the dungeon.
I wasn't sure
once
if you were
then.
talking to me. I didn't think you were, but I thought I'd give it to you anyway because this game's been a little one-sided.
Yeah, well, you could have blocked with something small. He's got Trample anyway.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to create 2 treasure tokens. So I've got 3 now.
Oh, I forgot to make a treasure from Goldspan, so I'm just going to do that.
And then move to end step, draw a card from Monarch, and pass.
Okay. Untap.
That's a card I could have used a lot longer ago.
Keep draw. How long do I have to play these from exile?
Forever.
Okay. I'll play a forest for turn. I will pay 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will play a Sigarda summoning. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have base power and toughness 4/4, flying, and are angels in addition to their other types. Polukranos does not have a +1/+1 on it. So, okay. I will move to combat. And I will swing a 5/5 5/5 flyer and a 6/6 flyer at you, Surf.
Okay. I'm just going to pay 6 energy to make 2 Thopters with the Whirler Virtuoso.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get up to 7, and then I'll get 2 energy, so I'll go up to 9. And I'll chump block each of them. Or, wait, is either one trample?
Neither of them have trample.
Okay, I'll block 1 on each.
Okay. So Iron Scale is going to get a +1.
Okay.
Okay. All right, and my turn.
Okay. On your end step, I'm going to tap 1, 2, and I guess I'll have 1 extra mana. 3, 4 from treasures. And I'll activate the Horizon of Progress to put a land from my hand onto the battlefield tapped. I'll put in the Steam Vents, which will give me 1 energy. That's it. Untap. Upkeep. Draw. Play Island. I'll tap 2 for 2 for an unstable amulet. When it enters, I get 2 energy. I played a land too, so I get 1 more. If I cast a spell from anywhere other than my hand, then this does 1 to each opponent. And I could pay 2 energy, tap it to exile a card that's playable until I exile another card with this. Alright, just tap Soul Ring for Arcane Signet. I'll tap 1, 2, 3, 4 for an Aetherworks Marvel. If a permanent I control hits the graveyard, I get an energy. I could pay 6 energy, tap this to cast a spell from the top 6 cards without paying its mana cost. Alright, I will go to combat. 27, 23. I don't know. I'm just going to kill one of you, sorry. I'll send everything at you, Megilla. On attack, Satya triggers. I'll copy Aragorn. So, Legend Rule will trigger, and I will lose one of them. I'll sack the copy, but I will ETB. I will become Monarch when it ETBs, and I will also get 2 energy from Satya and 1 from that thing ETBing. So then I'm the Monarch, and you can't block, and you've got more than 23 coming at you. Megilla.
Okay, that's it.
All right. GG. And I exile 2 things. I'll hit your Is It Signet again, and nothing else. Or I'll hit the 7/3. All right. And I make a treasure on attack. Cool. I'll move to end step, draw from Monarch. I'll pay the 5 to keep the... Or no. I already have that one. I won't pay anything. I'll pass.
Looking for a miracle.
Yes.
Untap, upkeep, draw.
Oh, I forgot to untap everything. Well, that's a miracle for you. The start of one, at least.
Tap to play the Is It Signet again. Draw your... I don't even know how many cards at this point.
Still just 3. Just 3.
Tap for Caves of Chaos Adventurer. When it enters the battlefield, I take the initiative.
Is that the one that doubles your spells?
No.
Okay.
That's the other one.
What does this one do?
This one, when I attack, I exile the top card of my library and I can play it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just make you lose 2 and I'll gain 2.
What's that from?
From the next room, the dark pool of this dungeon.
Okay.
Each opponent loses 1 life and I gain 1 life, but I double it because of Dungeon Delver.
Roger.
And then I'm going to sack my 3 treasures to play Displace, and I'm going to blink that Caves of Chaos Adventurer. So I'm going to take the initiative again. So I'm going to go into the Temple of Dumathoin. I'm going to draw a card, except I do it twice.
That was a 3 mana spell?
Yeah.
So I'll draw 1.
Okay, and that completes a dungeon. Okay, cool. Move to end step. I'll draw 2 cards from Emoen. Yep. All right. And then you're going to swing at me with way too many things.
Yeah. You want to call it, or should I play it out?
Yep. Nope. That's it.
All right. Good game.
GG, guys.
I needed the initiative earlier.
Yeah, initiative's so good.
Yeah, I needed to not keep 2 lands.
Ha!
Yeah.
We've all been there. I
In a
just had a game
Hydros
like
deck.
that right before this.
Right.
Yeah. All right. GG, guys. See ya.